I've always believed that learning is a lifelong journey, one that never truly ends. To me, society is the ultimate university, a dynamic, ever-evolving classroom where every moment, every interaction, and every challenge teaches us something profound. I'm deeply passionate about this process, not just because it expands our knowledge, but because it molds us into better people. We're often told that education is merely a stepping stone to a job, a salary, and a stable life. But I see it the other way around. We should work to support our learning, to keep our minds curious, our hearts open, and our spirits vibrant. Education isn't a stage you finish. It's an ongoing adventure that helps us grow, dream, and become the best versions of ourselves. When I imagine the future of education, I see a system that equips our children for the real world, not just to ace exams, but to face life's challenges with courage, creativity, and resilience. Life is messy, and conflicts are unavoidable. You can't dodge them, but you can learn to confront them with wisdom and grit. I've been excited by the advancements in education over the past 2 years. But there's one idea I'm eager to introduce in primary schools. I want every child to read at least 1,000 stories from the East and 1,000 from the West. Why? Because our kids shouldn't grow up viewing the world as split East versus West, us versus them. We can't delay until high school or college to impose rigid labels like Western history or Chinese religion. That's too complex and divisive. From the very beginning, children should build a global outlook, learning to respect all cultures, races, and beliefs. This isn't just for select schools or countries. It's for every student, everywhere. It's the bedrock for a world that flourishes through unity, not division. Applause. I never had a single day of formal training on how to be a CEO. Early in my career, one of my venture capitalists pulled me aside and said, "Jack, you should step down. You don't know how to be a CEO." I looked at him, smiled, and replied, "You're right, I don't know yet. But I'm going to learn." That conversation was a pivotal moment. Later, I realized I didn't need to conform to the traditional CEO image. My real strength came from my teaching background skills like inspiring others, building trust, and helping people believe in themselves. Those are the foundations of leadership, and they've taken me farther than any business school ever could. The power of failure and persistence. Looking back, my journey has been marked by failures more than I can count. My path through education was far from smooth. I failed the university entrance exams in China 3 times. Back then, failing wasn't rare, but for me, each setback felt deeply personal. The disappointment weighed heavier with every try, yet something inside me wouldn't let me quit. After years of perseverance, I got into Hangzhou Teachers College. To many, it was a lesser institution, a 4th or 5th tier university. But for me, it was a lifeline. It wasn't just about the classroom lessons. It was about learning to push through hardship, to persist when everything seemed against me. Those failures became my best teachers. They instilled resilience, the importance of persistence, and a growth mindset. I remember sitting alone after my 3rd exam failure, my mind reeling with doubt. But a question kept rising. If not now, when? If not me, who? That became my mantra, guiding me through every obstacle in my career. Too many people view failure as the end, but I've always seen it as a new beginning. Failure doesn't shatter you, strengthens you. It compels you to face your flaws, adapt, and forge ahead. I encountered countless closed doors. For years, I battled feelings of inadequacy, of not measuring up. But a tiny spark of hope kept me moving, a belief that I could carve my own path. That determination defines who I am today. It's why I tell young people, don't flee from failure. Embrace it. Learn from it. Let it propel you toward greatness. Failure is a mentor, not a final judgment. Let me share a story. When I was young, I applied for a job at a hotel. I was thrilled, rehearsing my pitch, picturing myself in the role. I didn't get it. The rejection hurt, but it prompted me to ask, What can I improve next time? That mindset, always seeking growth, became my guide. It's not about evading failure. It's about leveraging it to evolve. Another time, I tried for a police officer position. Rejected again, told I wasn't suitable. Instead of surrendering, I kept hunting for opportunities, each no honing my resolve. A new vision for education. When I was a student, China's education system desperately needed reform, and in many ways, it still does. Teaching was often assigned to those not considered top students, as if it were a consolation prize. That never sat right with me. How can we ignite a learning revolution if we undervalue teachers? But at Hangzhou Teachers College, I discovered a key truth. Being an outstanding teacher isn't about flawless grades or advanced degrees. It's about inspiring others, fueling their curiosity, and helping them uncover their potential. Teaching changed me not only professionally, but personally. In those classrooms, I grasped education's true essence. It's not about churning out identical graduates, but empowering unique individuals. Every student is distinct with their own aspirations, talents, and hurdles. A teacher's job is to guide them towards self-discovery, not to force them into someone else's vision of success. As we gaze toward the future, I believe diversity of thought will be our strongest asset. If we run schools like factories, producing cookie-cutter graduates, we'll end up with automatons, not innovators. My own journey wasn't about rote facts, it was about transforming setbacks into opportunities. Viewing challenges as chances to grow. That perspective has shaped me as a leader, and it's what I wish for the next generation. Success isn't about speed, it's about the resilience you demonstrate along the way. Failure is fleeting, but learning endures. Let me tell you about a moment that influenced my view of education. One day, during my teaching years, a shy student approached me after class. She was struggling, convinced she wasn't capable. I sat with her, listened, and said, "You don't need to be perfect, you just need to try." Over time, I watched her confidence blossom. Not because I provided all the answers, but because I believed in her. That's what education should achieve. Uplift people, affirm their abilities, and equip them to shine. Another student, a quiet boy who rarely spoke in class, once confided his dream of becoming a writer. I urged him to write a short story. It wasn't flawless, but it was his, and that creative spark transformed how he saw himself. Years later, he sent me his first published book. That's education's power, writes about transformation, not mere information. It's the purpose of university. I often chat with high school students in China and ask, "What's your passion? What do you want to do with your life?" Too frequently, they respond, "I don't know. I just want to get into a good university." When I probe why, they shrug. "Because it'll land me a job." That saddens me. So many young people pursue degrees without purpose, seeing them as a ticket to security. But it's not that simple. In my 20 years at Alibaba, I found that most university graduates required retraining from scratch. A degree doesn't guarantee employment, and it doesn't ready you for reality. What truly matters? Teachers. I've witnessed how one teacher's faith in a student can alter their path. My own education highlighted this contrast vividly. The impact of teachers. Let me tell you about my English teacher. She wasn't even trained in English, she was a math teacher, reassigned due to a shortage. Yet she made a profound impact on me. One day, she said, "Jack, your pronunciation is better than mine." Those words, from someone learning with us, ignited a fire in me. Her honesty and encouragement built confidence I didn't know I possessed. It revealed the power of a teacher's belief. In contrast, my chemistry teacher and I clashed. I struggled with the subject, and his lack of faith exacerbated it. That rift taught me something essential. The teacher-student bond is paramount. When a teacher invests, emotionally offering trust, care, and support, the effect transcends grades. It shapes your character. Great teachers don't merely cover subjects. They instill resilience, self-belief, and the courage to persevere. This extends to business. Success isn't solely about expertise, it's about trusting your ability to learn, adapt, and grow. My English teacher, with her limited training but immense passion, became one of my biggest influences. She showed me it's not about knowing everything, it's about connecting, motivating, and inspiring. That's a teacher's true legacy. I recall another moment from my teaching days. A student was failing, not from lack of smarts, but from low confidence. I spent extra time with him, not drilling equations, but discussing his dreams. Gradually, he started believing in himself. Years later, he wrote, saying those talks changed his life. That's teaching's essence: transformation over test scores. Another time, I had a disruptive student, always causing trouble. Instead of punishment, I asked why he was restless. He opened up about feeling lost. We channeled his energy into a project he loved, and he became one of the most engaged kids in class. Teachers don't just share knowledge, they transform lives. This outlook influences my leadership style. Just as a teacher trusts students, a leader must trust their team. A leader's role isn't to be the genius, it's to empower others to exceed their limits. As I often say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't try to change the rabbit, change yourself. The AI era, differentiation over standardization. The Industrial Revolution focused on uniformity, building systems, optimizing processes. But in the AI era, we must champion what makes us unique. We need to cultivate individuality, not conformity. Technology like AI isn't meant to dominate us, it's here to enhance us. True equity in education means providing every child the tools to become their best self, not squeezing them into a uniform mold. I've always envisioned schools as zoos, teeming with diverse animals, each with unique strengths and personalities. That's how I built my company. I didn't want a farm of identical chickens or ducks. I wanted a team that was varied, adaptable, and daring. Education should mirror that, celebrating differences, igniting creativity, and readying kids to stand out in a rapidly shifting world. In a world where machines process data and solve issues in seconds, what distinguishes humans? Our creativity, emotions, and unconventional thinking. Education must nurture these traits, not stifle them. We need to teach kids to dream, question, and envision what machines can't. I remember visiting a school where students created their own projects, from simple apps to poetry. The joy in their eyes, the pride in their work, that's education at its best. It's not rote memorization, it's sparking passion. The importance of embracing failure. Failure is unavoidable, but it's not defeat's a launchpad. I learned this through endless rejections. I applied for 30 jobs and was turned down each time. Even by KFC. Out of 24 applicants, 23 got hired. I was the exception. That could have devastated me, but I viewed it as a test. Each rejection fueled my drive to improve, to explore new avenues. This perspective, treating failure as a teacher, is crucial for youth. The world is unpredictable, full of obstacles. We must teach resilience, showing kids that failure isn't scary, but educational. It exposes weaknesses and fosters growth. That's what differentiates innovators: the capacity to rise, reflect, and advance. I live by a simple principle. If you have a dream, you'll never feel poor. No matter the hardship, a clear vision and determination turned failure into a detour. Today's young people often fear failure, but true growth stems from embracing it. Every rejection I endured led to something greater. It wasn't easy, but it was essential. When I speak to young entrepreneurs, I emphasize, failure doesn't define you, your reaction does. Let me share another story. Early in my career, I pitched an idea to investors. I was anxious but optimistic. They dismissed it as impractical. I could have quit, but I refined it and tried again. That persistence sparked unimaginable breakthroughs. Failure isn't a barrier, it's an entryway. Another time, I launched a small translation business. Failed. But the insights on managing teams and clients laid Alibaba's groundwork. Every failure strengthens you, if you allow it. Preparing for the future of work. The world is evolving at an astonishing speed. Technology is reshaping daily life and careers. When I observe school children today, I wonder, are we readying them for tomorrow's realities? Experts predict that in 20 years, half of current jobs might disappear. That's intimidating, but it's also a chance. We need to foster creativity, adaptability, and independent thinking in kids. Too many schools still function like factories, churning out standardized graduates for an obsolete world. I envision education differently, like a zoo, where each child discovers their unique strengths. Creativity will be the key skill ahead, and we must cultivate it early. Our children will inherit a vastly different world, and the best gift is the ability to reinvent themselves. Technology doesn't frighten me, inspires me. But we must prepare kids accordingly. Education's future isn't fact cramming. It's building critical thinking, curiosity, and resilience. We need a fresh approach, one valuing innovation, emotional intelligence, and flexibility. Machines will manage technical duties, but they can't empathize, innovate, or dream. That's why emotional education is vital alongside academics. Teaching collaboration, emotional management, and creative problem-solving will arm kids for constant change. What concerns me isn't tech, it's whether we're equipping kids properly. The future depends on today's education. The challenge is evident. Are we up to it? I once visited a rural school with limited resources, but an amazing teacher. She didn't just teach basic C, instilled self-belief, teamwork, and big dreams. One student shared his ambition to engineer bridges for his village. That's the vision education should spark, not jobs, but purpose. Another time, I watched kids on a science project with no fancy tools, just ingenuity and collaboration. Their solution was brilliant, thanks to encouraged divergent thinking. Balancing technology and humanity. At Alibaba, we didn't label our tech artificial intelligence. We called it Alibaba Intelligence. We recognized machines shine at logic, analyzing data, identifying patterns, solving faster than humans. But some things machines can't touch: feeling love, igniting creativity, or dreaming. Those are human superpowers. Our core strength. Love defies reason. We can't quantify why we love. It's chaotic, unpredictable, profoundly human. Creativity follows suit from the heart, mind, and life's messiness. At Alibaba, tech monitored transactions, spotted fraud, optimized operations. But real innovation, birthing something novel, always stemmed from people. The task ahead is harmonizing tech with humanity. AI is a tool, not the end game. Use it to better lives, tackle issues, but never sacrifice our essence. The deepest solutions will arise from dreaming, connecting, and creating. As we advance in the AI age, ensure tech serves humanity, not vice versa. I recall a Alibaba moment developing a platform. The tech impressed, but the team's creative sparks from heartfelt discussions, not code, made it succeed. That's our human advantage. We must cherish it. Leadership as teaching. At Alibaba, I viewed myself less as CEO and more as Chief Education Officer. Leadership mirrors teaching. A great teacher wants students to outshine them. A leader's duty is similar: to inspire, empower, and enable teams to achieve beyond imagination. When that VC urged me to quit as CEO, I smiled. Maybe I don't know yet, I thought, but I'll learn. He was right. I wasn't conventional, but I didn't need to be. My teaching roots provided strengths. Trusting others, guiding gently, sowing confidence. That's how I led Alibaba. One avoided micromanaging. I empowered innovation and risk-taking. Trust sparks creativity and loyalty. Believing in people lifts them. Leadership isn't about being smartest hits, making others feel capable of extraordinary things. Like a teacher rooting for students, I encouraged my team to dream boldly, challenge limits, build something remarkable. I remember a late-night Alibaba meeting on a stalled project. Instead of orders, I asked, "What do you think?" Their trusted ideas turned it around. That's leadership as teaching. Another time, a shy employee hesitated on an idea. I prompted her. It shaped a key campaign. Leadership unlocks potential, like teaching, teamwork, and collaboration. Education molds not just people, but societies. Consider sports. In China, with over 1 billion people, we can't assemble a soccer team to beat tiny Maldives. In the future, collaboration is key. Work and innovation require unity, trust, joint problem-solving. Sports teach this vividly. Teamwork, rebounding from losses, interdependence. These extend to business, relationships, life. We must evolve schools to value collaboration as much as academics. Emotional education, fostering connection, empathy, teamwork is essential. For the next generation to succeed, teach collaboration's art. True breakthroughs happen not alone, but in collaborative chaos. I saw a school group project. They debated, laughed, I did it. Together, they created what none could solo. That's the ethos to nurture in schools and beyond. Another example. Kids new to basketball learned passing, support, victory as a unit. Collaboration forges bonds and wins. The importance of adaptability. Business showed me adaptability's might. The world shifts rapidly trends. Tech needs evolve. Adapters thrive. Entrepreneurship means adjusting, rethinking, reinventing. Starting Alibaba e-commerce had no blueprint. We altered plans, refined strategies, sometimes rebooted. That agility drove growth. Adaptability isn't business only, it's human. Lifelong learners, open minds, graceful pivots succeed. It's honed by challenges. Embrace change, view hurdles as openings. In a dynamic world, reinvention claims success. Early at Alibaba, a rival surprise feature could have derailed us. We adapted, learned, emerged stronger. That's the mindset to instill flexibility amid flux. Another glitch threatened a launch. We pivoted, succeeded. Adaptability is a superpower. The future of education is collective. Every child starts like a startup, founder brimming with potential. Navigating challenges, collaborating, seeking help. Education isn't individual, it's crafting humanity's tomorrow. Today's teaching shapes tomorrow's world. Today's people shape future education. My first job was teaching. I hope my last is to working with you, learning, debating, solving collectively. I'm no expert, just a passionate amateur. Let's rethink education. Not factory, but zoo vibrant, diverse, possible. Teach embracing failure, collaboration, creativity, adaptation. Prepare thriving, dreaming, world-improving kids. Together, craft a future of endless learning. Every child their best. Thank you.